Hello, I'm Bailey Leisure, and this is my 2018 Major League Baseball season April side month thoughts. As I thought about what happened in the first official month of the season. I know the season started in March, but this is my thoughts on and my recap on what happened in the Major League Baseball season in 2018. So to start it off, I'm going to talk about some of the big stories in Major League Baseball. So obviously one of the big stories has been the Angels, the basically what they're calling the Babe Ruth of Japan, but Shohei Ohtani, what he's been able to do with the Angels. Just after a really bad spring start, spring training, he's captivated. He's been one of the top stories in the league. Um, he's had to deal with some injury issues recently. I think a mild ankle sprain, and then I think a blister on the finger. But this guy, he's been a really great two-way, and it's helping the Angels compete. And that's what the Angels want to do when you have Mike Trout. And they've done a good job complimenting Mike Trout this year. And he's been able to get the job done and help the Angels out. The story has really been who's leading the charge for the New York Yankees. The Yankees have been competing with the Red Sox in the division, and the one guy that's been the number one guy, you'd think it'd be Aaron Judge or it'd be Giancarlo Stanton or even Gary Sanchez. No, it's Didi Gregorius. He's off to a torrid start. I mean, he's been one of the most impressive players for the Yankees, and he's been leading the way. I mean, especially with Giancarlo Stanton and kind of his rough start, but he's been picking up the pace for the Yankees. And the Red Sox had a huge lead in the division, and I'll talk about the division in a minute. But he's been off to a great start, and if he keeps it up, the Yankees are going to they're going to be contenders. I think once Stanton officially gets it going, they're going to be Yankees. They might be unstoppable. Another big story. Even though two of these three teams I can see getting back off, the Cubs are starting to do a little bit better recently. But the Dodgers, man, I did not expect them to do, especially with the talent, to have this many problems. The Nationals as well, but you know what? The Nationals, I mean, the difference is with the Nationals and the Dodgers. The Nationals, I think they've won 3 games in a row as I'm recording this. And they're going to they're without Adam Eaton, Anthony Rendon, Daniel Murphy. I mean, once they get all those guys, I feel like even though it's a much more competitive National League East, I think the Nationals, they still have a good chance right now to contend, or pick up the pace a little bit. The Cubs as well. The Dodgers, listen, it's the month of April, and you don't win divisions or make playoff spots in April. But the Dodgers, man, the struggle. They're seriously going through a World Series hangover, and it's just, as I'm recording this, they're playing the first place Diamondbacks, and they're off. They've lost 2 in a row. I mean, their bullpen has not been great. And that was one of their strong points last year. Their starting pitching, Kershaw's done all right, and but it's not as effective as people thought he was going to be, or he has been before in the regular season. They just lost Corey Seager, who's going to have Tommy John surgery. Justin Turner's out. They got several people. Yasiel Puig's on the disabled list. Rich Hill, one of their starting pitchers on the rotation, he's out with an injury. So it's the injuries are piling up, and you're saying, oh, once they get healthy, they're going to be good to go. But the difference is that the Diamondbacks, they're getting a lot of injuries as well, and yet they're finding ways to win. They're without Jake Lamb. They're without Steven Souza. They lost Taijuan Walker. He's going to have Tommy John surgery. Robbie Ray just got put on the disabled list. I mean, it's, plus you look at the division, it's still pretty, even though I think it's kind of started off a little bit weak. It's still a competitive division. I mean, you have the Rockies, the Giants. This is an even year, so they're going to be competing. It's just overall, it's just a weird division. And I think, I think the Dodgers, listen, there's still a long season to go, so they have some time. I really think that they should not, they're not going to go after Manny Machado. I just don't think that's going to happen. They're really, they have to be under the luxury tax for one thing, and, obviously you need him, but you're not going to you're not going to re-sign the guy, and that's probably a guy the Dodgers would like to re-sign. Plus, other teams would go after him and probably give him more. The thing is that what's the point of getting him? I mean, Machado's a shortstop this year now, but seriously, you put him at shortstop. And let's say next year, okay, we want to try to keep him, but you want to also go after other players. You have other free agents. Clayton Kershaw might opt out. You have Bryce Harper's a free agent. There's a huge free agent class in 2018, and Machado, you're not going to keep him. Okay, let's put him at third base. You're not going to keep him at third base with Justin Turner. So it's just a weird. Dodgers have not been. The Cubs, Dodgers, and Nationals have been off to weird starts. They've been slumping. The Cubs seem like they're starting to pick it up. The Nationals are showing signs of life. The Dodgers are not off to a great start, so they have to pick it up soon. I mean, this series, they got 2 more games against the Diamondbacks. They've played a lot. They've seen a lot of the Diamondbacks, and if they don't pick it up against them, they're looking like they're going to be just not. They're screwed. Talk about the best hitting players in both the American League and the National League. The American League, Manny Machado's been off to a great start, while the Orioles have been just not great. And to be honest, he's probably going to get traded. He'll be one of those guys at the trade deadline that people will go after. Didi Gregorius, he's been off to an MVP start. And then Shohei Ohtani in the National League, as far as hitting, I got Tommy Pham, Drew Herrera, and Ozzie Albers. So those are the best players in hitting in both the American League and the National League. On to pitchers. In the American League, Sean Manaea from the Oakland A's. Oakland A's, they've been all right. I thought they were going to be in last, but Sean Manaea, he was the first pitcher to throw a no-hitter. He did it against the Red Sox, who had like a 10-plus game winning streak, so that's pretty impressive. Justin Verlander, that guy's life just gets better and better. Last night, in a no decision against the Yankees, he threw 14 strikeouts. Garrett Cole is another guy that's off to a pretty good start. He got traded from Pittsburgh, and he's really helped the. I think the Astros in the American League, they have the best rotation in baseball, so they've been off to a great start. In the National League, he just got put on the disabled list, but Johnny Cueto is off to a pretty good start. Patrick Corbin, he's really returning to 2013 form. Figures in a contract year, but he's really been a great player for the Diamondbacks, and he especially with Taijuan Walker out for the year, someone needs to step up, and he's done a very good job of really. This is probably the best I've ever seen this guy pitch. And then I think Max Scherzer, he's still a great pitcher as well. So now I'm going to talk about the best surprises in baseball. So biggest surprises, the Pirates, they've been kind of competing. I mean, I thought this was going to be where they were rebuilding this year, but so far they've been in the race. I think a lot of these teams, especially with these divisions where there's like 3 or 4 competitive teams, I think by mid-June it's probably going to go down to 3, with the possibility of it just being a two team divisions. But like I've said before, the Pirates good. The Mets, they've been healthier, even though Matt Harvey's been very disappointing, and it's looking like he's washed up. I mean, it's just the off the field issues that he's been moved to the bullpen. The Oakland A's, even though I think it's just gonna be hard, it's gonna be hard for them to contend. It's still admirable that they're not at the bottom of the division. The Toronto Blue Jays, this is kind of really last year that they can probably compete, considering one of their core players, Josh Donaldson, he's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. And then the Atlanta Braves, they've got a lot of great young players. Dansby Swanson's looking like he's developed. Ozzie Albers, they have another prospect. I forgot his name, but he's done very well as well. And then obviously you have Freddie Freeman. So I think Atlanta, they'll be competing as well. So the biggest disappointments I have, the Nationals. I mean, but they've had a lot of injured players. But this is really disappointing from what the start they've gone after, because this is probably their last year with Bryce Harper, most likely. So they need to figure out a way to pick it up the pace. The Dodgers. I mean, just all the injuries and all the things that are going wrong with them. The Giants, got kind of some big, they're kind of competing and staying at 500, but still a little bit off to a disappointment. The Orioles, Manny Machado's off to a great start, but that's pretty much it for the team. And then the Minnesota Twins, I've kind of noticed they've had some bullpen issues. They got Fernando Rodney in the offseason as their closer, and he's always a shaky closer. I mean, he was. I think he saved 39 games for the Diamondbacks last year, but he was shaky at some points. So, but you'd think they take the next step. I had them at the beginning of in my 2018 MLB season predictions. I had them beating the Indians. That was my bold prediction, but still a long season to go. The American League Central looks pretty weak, so we'll see what happens there. Currently, as I'm recording this video, the Red Sox are tied with the Arizona Diamondbacks for the best record in baseball. They're at 21-8. The Yankees are at 19-10, and they're 2 games back. But the Red Sox had a huge lead, but they're really picking up the pace. Toronto is playing pretty well, 17-12, 4 games back. Tampa Bay, they haven't been that bad either. I don't. They're kind of like the A's. I feel like they'll eventually fade out, but they're 13-15, and then Baltimore last at 8-21. In the American League Central, you have the Indians. In a weak division. Detroit is in second, 12-16. Minnesota's 9-16. Then you have the White Sox at 8-19, and the Kansas City. Wow, this is a rebuild year for them. I mean, just kind of a shame considering they won a World Series a few years ago at 8-21. In the American League West, it's a very competitive division. You have the Astros at 20-11. You have the Mariners at 17-11. They're competing as well. This could be a last year for them. You have the Angels at 17-12, and then you have Oakland at 14-15, and then you have the Texas Rangers at 12-19. The